Hello, it's Eric from E.M.B.R, and today we're doing Climb Portal Cold Day Aravis, something like that. Hopefully that was pronounced right. Yeah, there's two reasons I'm doing it. One, I try to do all the climb portals when they come out. If I miss one, I see it on the schedule, I grab it. But also on the 5 watt per kg for 20 minutes, I figured this climb was in that sort of 10 to 12 minute range, that I could maybe try to take my 360 watt target pace and see if I could extend it a little past 10 minutes, depending on how many feathers I get, if any. And yeah, just make an effort of it and then maybe do some intervals. So here we go. So in terms of video format on this one, I'm going to let the climb play out unedited. Also some of my sort of live reaction thereafter, some of my comments, which I usually have after doing an effort. And then after that, we'll also get to a little bit of a 5 watt per kg over 50 project update. And but yeah, we'll chapter mark everything, and you can watch what you want to watch and scan as you want to scan. See ya.
That's maybe a 10-minute PB, definitely a 12. At least watts per kg. We'll see what watts. Tried to stay standing just for the very steep, just to be time efficient, but not upset the equilibrium too much. Seemed to work better. Also have my, still don't know if I have riding position correct, but got my seat in such a way that it's really coaxing me forward. And I still find myself doing that for reasons, but I think it's just habit from being upright so long for 3 years. Legs felt good. I mean, it hurt, but they were not the limiting factor, I don't think. They were just all around fitness, legs, the whole package this time. I was just at the fine line of push harder, blow up. Keep where you're at, you got a chance. I'm gonna zone 1 for about 15 minutes or so. So that I can properly recover to give it another 10-minute shot. Anyways, I don't know if I'll go all the way up at pace. The intervals are supposed to be 10. I just figured this is close enough. Let's go for a time and see if we can extend that 360 up a little bit. We did. And the goal is 360 for 20. We're not there yet. And also, I'm 74. It's only about 0.6. I think in this system I'm still 0.8 or 0.9, I don't remember. I'm 74 point something in the game. I think higher than my actual weight at the moment because I came down this morning. But close enough. Need to get to 72. Don't need to. The goal is get to 72, keep the power at 360, 5 watts per kg for 20. Got to extend it as well. It's a lot of work to go. But that's a good baseline. This weekend, we're gonna try to push probably somewhere around 325, 330 up the out and try to get under 45 minutes at age 54. And that's just a side goal I have. Well, it's an annual goal, but I always bump or move to where it's challenging. Something on the out. But that'll also help build this effort as well, just for duration. Which I've got the watts. Just need to extend the duration. I'm pushing it from the bottom. Yesterday's ride was zone 2 ceiling. I'm up to about 260 watts, right at the top of zone 2 heart rate, and just without drift for about an hour. That's the other ride I'm doing, pushing it from the bottom. But today was a top end, very specific to the goal. Get used to the feeling, get it up the baseline where we're at. Not baseline, but just a checkpoint where we're at versus baseline when we started. We're definitely improving. That means the training is, if nothing else, it's having a positive effect, not a negative one. And it could be more optimal, who knows, but consistency, structure, those two things. Get consistency right here, 99% of the way there. Get structure right. Get the rest of the way. And you can be slightly wrong on structure, not horribly wrong, but you get consistency wrong, you never get anywhere. Nutrition, sleep, my percentages are off. Consistency, nutrition, and sleep. Get those right, and you're 90% of the way there. There we go. I don't know why I didn't get that at the top. I thought it was number 1. Doesn't really matter, but it's too busy being tired to notice. So the way we're gonna, right now I'm taking probably end up being about a 20-minute rest. the way I'll end up progressing this workout is two ways. I'm at the wattage now, so we got that. I don't need to mess with that too much, considering what the goal is. Could maybe go a little north of it, but at this point what I want to do is do 360 for 10. And then instead of taking a 20-minute rest, maybe take a 10-minute rest and try to do it again for 10. And then just gradually shrink the rest in between the 360 watt for 10-minute intervals. That's one way to progress it until there's very little rest and eventually no rest when you get to the goal. The other way I may is just extend the duration, longer rest. Try to go for extended duration again, but primarily the way that I found most success is do the duration for 10 at the target and then keep shrinking the rest until it's 0. That's worked very well for me on 5Ks, 10Ks, even half marathons. Just do half the duration you want at pace and then rest, does the other half, and then just keep shrinking the rest as you progress it over time towards goal race, or in this case just the date that we go, that we're ready to do the goal. It's not really a race at this point, but right now we're kind of messed with the duration that time just because the climb was longer than 10 minutes, but that's really still early on in being able to hold 360 for 10, or now 12. So if I tried to do like a 10-minute rest and go at it again, the quality of that second interval would have been crap. We'll see. And that was near full effort just to do what I did. So I definitely need rest. I've been going fairly light except for this stupid hill. Back off. But yeah, if I want the second interval to have any chance, is why I'm extending the rest. And then my guess is I'll hit 360, but probably not for 10. Yeah, I gotta check that thought out of my mind though, and be positive about it. Believe and go for it. But yeah, even at this gray, my heart is still not down to, should be in like 120, low 120s right now. At this watt, if that, it's still going, what the heck. Once the legs have to start firing back up at 300 something, we'll see if they chirp at me. I'm sure they will. I was hoping for a feather. I don't think I got a single feather on that climb. Again, I was so focused on my darn watch that I don't think I did, which is fine. That made me for it pushed me to do a longer effort at pace. So I had 90 grams of carbs in this, and it's kind of not diluted, so I've been diluting it with this, but that's how I fueled this, topping off like it did last night, but that's the only calories I've had this morning. Tried to take on most of them in the warm-up, so they're in the system and ready. But I'll have a large breakfast of oats and yogurt and blueberries and chia seeds and all kinds of stuff. That'll replenish me. Alright, I gotta make the turn. Right about 20 minutes of rest is what we're looking for.
This next bit is an interval, me trying to do more time at target pace at 360 watts. The goal was originally try to do it for 10 minutes. We don't quite get there, but more to come as we get through it. Hello, this is Eric in Post Edit. Yeah, I could feel in this first interval, I thought I maybe could go after 20 minutes rest, do another 10 minutes at 360. Yeah, nothing for nothing. That 12 and a half at 360 took a little more out of me than I expected, so I'm realizing that as I'm going through this and thinking we probably need to cut this interval short and get a little more rest and then do another interval after that just to get the target pace rather than sort of sitting below. But yeah, we were making an effort at it, and sometimes you just have to call audibles, so. That son of a was my internal admission coming out externally. Even the feather wasn't motivating me enough to try to go the full climb at the watts. I just didn't have it in the legs, so I kind of knew I was going to have to cut it short at 5 minutes, take a rest, and then do a second piece.
Have to break something my mind's ready for, which is 5-minute splits. Mind and body. Ease off here. But in this case, I'm going for one rest.
What I mean by 1-for-1 rest is something with intervals. Like if I do a 2-minute interval, 2-minute rest, or in this case, 5-minute interval, 5-minute rest. Just try to keep the rest equal to the interval. So yeah, that's what I'm falling back to at this point.
Let's see if I can pull the watts back up to 360 on the second one.
And that is the reason I cut the first one short. What's important to me right now is time at target pace. And if I'm under target pace, I'm not doing what I want with the interval. So
this is why I don't do it on the rig crochet as well. I can pivot, trust myself, and pivot where necessary. I love the fact that they put splits in. This has been very valuable in terms of allowing me to do this without erg and still really track it well.
And for sure, by breaking up the interval and then also knowing that I've only got to do 5 minutes at pace, the legs came back online and we're able to hold 360 plus for this next one. And that is the top of the climb, but I'm blowing right past it because I'm going to 5 minutes at pace.
All right. That is plenty of work for today. I could empty a little bit more on that one because last interval. That's over 20 minutes, 22 and a half, 22 and a half at target pace, which is a good day of work. If I want to save, be ready for Saturday as well.
And being ready for Saturday, that's referring to an effort I had scheduled for going up Alp to Zwift under 45 minutes. That's sort of a PB attempt, so
this was a big enough impulse.
I have to keep the whole week into perspective when we're doing these efforts.
Saturday's going to be long and hard, so I'll save some matches for that. Yeah, for a weekday morning session, those were good efforts. Save the hardest stuff for the weekend when I can get a proper full breakfast, let it digest for a couple of hours, 3 hours, take on some more calories in the warm-up, and just be completely topped and jamming, fully awake. That's when you do the really hard effort. So for today, on a weekday, 22 minutes, especially that first 12-minute effort, that's a good session. First effort was monster. I did a warm-up before this, so I don't think I came cold and did that. That is not the case. But here you go. At 12. And again, that's just watts, and that was set when I was heavier. So that's just a banger of an effort.
Alright, that's the end of the workout and the climb portal stuff. This next bit of the video is just an update since the last time I did on Project 5 watt per kg over age 50. Again, trying to hold 360 watts at 72 kilograms for 20 minutes. That's the goal. Made some progress for sure. Climb portal effort at the beginning of this video, that's responsible for extending that 361 watts out to 12 minutes. 4.85 watts per kg because I'm still 74 point something kg right now, but that's the watt target, right? We get the weight down to 72 kilograms, that'll turn to 5 watts per kg. So made some progress there. And then on the bottom, the 30 and 40 minute, that's part of the E.M.B.R Zwift attempt I did on Saturday. There's a different video for that, but yeah, also attacking it from there, but we'll get into the rest of it, and that's next. I did think about making this its own video, but I figure anybody that stuck through this far through the workout, etc., those are probably the people that would be interested. And I also captioned it at the front that this would be here. So honestly, I'm still trying to figure out the format for this and whether anybody's really interested besides me. But yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it, at least for my own documentation perspective. And if somebody else gets value out of it, that's goodness. All right, we are in. Update on 5 watt per kg for 50. We'll look at, you can kind of see from a training perspective. If you look at prior weeks, the middle of May, there's a lot more yellow and orange in here. There's also some running, those sorts of things, versus where we came from back. Just scrolling back, you're going to see more green. That was more of the base. Slowly been putting in more intensity, just scanning and some of these races and whatnot, but slowly putting in more intensity with each week, even some longer intensity, ramping up into May, more running, more intensity. There's a reason, and you'll see here in a second. Right to the end of May, and that's where you'll see a full rest day. and you'll see more green, still some intensity, some very marked intensity in here, which we'll dig into this event and this event. Actually, this whole week is relevant. This is the current week, June 2nd through 8th. But if we pull out a little bit and we look at fitness, and actually this goes all the way back to a year ago, so June 6th, 24 through June 7th. What you'll generally see is you'll see, increase, and we'll pull back a little bit, sort of deload, ramp up again. Here I probably should have deloaded a little more, but we were making okay progress, so I kept this going. Actually got a little into the well here, but a little bit of a plateau, to be honest, before I deloaded and then ramped up again. Now what I'm trying to do is ramp, deload, ramp a little quicker. And at certain scales you'll see that will, if you start to plateau, you shed the fatigue, and then you can start to ramp up again, shed some fatigue. But also, especially down in here, you can see how much I shed, basically very much into the well here, shedding fatigue, mainly because this week I was targeting a couple things. One, I was targeting 360 watts, holding it for more than 10 minutes. Again, the goal is to hold 360 for 20, but I'm just sort of trying to step it up progressively. So there was this, and then today was out to Zwift, holding more than 325 and getting under 45 minutes at age 54. My birthday's this weekend, so that was one of the goals: turn 54 and then get the reverse of my age, under 45 minutes. So yeah, I sort of deloaded and tapered right into that to be very, very fresh for this effort. And then prior to this effort as well, doing 360 watts here for 12 and a half minutes, which was a PB for 12 and a half. That's the longest I've held 360. But doing that on Thursday made doing this, holding 325 for almost 45 minutes, little 43 something, 44, a little under 44. I got up the Alp, which was another PB, but I came in very, very fresh, deloaded fatigue, shed fatigue, did a big 360 watt effort, which then made this 325 not feel as bad. All basically trying to, again, build that long-term endurance so that I can start to hold 360 for longer. So these two, Thursday and Friday, are pushing at it from the top, again holding target pace, but just trying to extend the duration I can hold target pace. And then I took a rest, and then I did another 5 minutes at target pace, and then a rest, and then another 5 minutes at target pace, just trying to get time at target pace, and then along with a long duration piece of it. That was the point of Thursday. Point of today was get my out to Zwift goal done, but also, again, just get used to holding substantial watts for a long period, just build endurance. So that's pushing at it from the top. And then the other thing that I did this week, and will continue to do, if we look at activities, is on Wednesday. This is a long, about an hour long, doing the highest watts I can hold while keeping heart rate in zone 2, under 140 basically. So 260 watts, 140, and trying to keep heart rate stable, not drifting. So really just right at the top. So I'm pushing the ceiling of zone 2 up. In fact, if you look at power, it thinks I'm in zone 3 power, but doing zone 2 heart rate. So this was just zone 2 ceiling work. So that's me pushing at the power I can sustain from the bottom, sort of push my zone 2 up. And then the other two events I just showed you were driving it, trying to pull up from the top. And then the other thing that I'm doing, especially since it's summer in Florida here you can see again 260 watts, 140 BPM. Just to show you that this is no fans, basically heat training. Again, trying to keep heart rate under 140, but now with heat coming at me. And so there, eventually I'm in the mid, like low twos, and then towards the end of this, just to keep heart rate under 140 at the end of the hour, I was just barely over 200 watts. But again, the whole point of this was heart rate's gonna drift because of the, just trying to keep the body cool. This is heat training, heat acclimation. So yeah, some zone 2 work where it's not really fatiguing the legs, but it is building and getting some training impulse just from heat training, which there's more to that. I'm not going to go deep on heat training and the whys of it. There's a lot of videos on that that probably do a better job than I would, but so yeah, on a given week, like if you look at this week, and this is how most weeks are going to go. It's Monday is sort of like an active rest, maybe scout the race, the Tuesday race, just do that sort of easy, then have a hard you're gonna get interval, you're gonna get intensity training just by doing the race. Keeps things interesting, gives me one race per week, not a big deal. Then there's the 90-minute high zone 2 ceiling work, that's what I just showed. Then on Thursdays it's interval work. This past week it was that 12.5 at 360, and then more at race pace or at target pace for 5 watt per kg for 20. This next week, instead of doing rate at target pace, we're going to go above target pace, just shorter duration, so do a bunch of 5-minute at 400. I'm not sure I'm going to structure this yet, but I sort of soft put stuff in, and then I'll structure it more on the day. Friday, more sort of active recovery, zone 1, zone 2. I make sure I'm getting my rest in because I'm old and I'm doing some work here. Then I'm going to do another handicap race on the Alps, so it's going to be another effort like this. Maybe we'll break the record I just set, who knows, but this is again community, having some fun, and also just getting another long hard Alp effort in. And then like tomorrow I'll do zone 2, just long 100 kilometers, maybe 2.5 hours, something like that, and something much the same. Sundays are generally my long zone 2, just get volume endurance in. But 3 intensity days, various types of work on those intensity days, some active recovery, and then some long zone 2 work. That's generally probably how June's gonna go. Again, the structure of these individual days, like the June or the Tuesdays are always gonna be sort of a race day. Thursday and Saturday we'll adjust this intensity day, but it's all going to be guiding towards getting to the point where I can do 360 watts for 20 minutes, right? And some of it's going to be pushing it hard above that pace, sometimes longer just below that pace, sometimes right at the pace. But we're a variety of ways I can start to get the body ready to really extend this effort. If I come into power, this is Thursday, so 361 for a little over 12 minutes, 4.85, so real close. I'm not down to 72 kg yet, which is why this is not 5 watts. So but we'll get the weight there, and then this will be 5 watts per kg. Right now I'm just getting, there's multiple levers, but just holding 360 for more than 10 minutes, right? Before 10 minutes was the longest. Now I'm up to 12 minutes. Another month or two, maybe I can get it to 15 minutes where I'm holding 360. It's just trying to extend how long I can hold 360. But this was a nice PB. That's sort of the update. More to come. Things are going well again between heat training, zone 2 ceiling work, or heat training, zone 2 ceiling work, interval work, both short duration or medium duration, long duration, and then short duration upcoming. A little bit of racing just to keep things interesting, some community stuff. Volume is This was me tapering a little bit. So yeah, this was a little bit lower. This week it's starting to creep up a little bit, but still not where it was. We were north of 12 hours, right? Between running, weight training, cycling, etc. And then we did a little bit of taper. But yeah, we're going to be back now with the taper, with this event. We're going to be back up to sort of about 12 hours a week again. Have another ramp like this again, build, go sort of down deep into the well for 3 or 4 weeks, and then we'll taper down again, rinse, wash, repeat, rinse, repeat, and keep driving towards the goal. Outside of that, that's where we're at. Things are going well, and progress is good, and I think we're on target, hopefully by end of year. We'll see. Again, it's going to take a while. This is not going to happen overnight, but good progress over the past month for sure. But that's it for the update. For those few of you that are interested and are watching, let me know if there's a different format you'd like to see, or different topics, whether it's nutrition, sleep, supplements, weight training, whatever. I'm doing a bunch of different things, and just trying to think of ways to share it. But yeah, let me know in the comments, and we'll adjust. Thanks. See you guys.